What is going on, guys? Welcome back for the final chapter of the week, chapter 10 of 1 Corinthians. More ground to cover today. It's a good one. You are watching the Bible vlog. Chapter 10 is a bit of a continuation on the thoughts from chapter 8. So Paul starts off the chapter by actually pointing backwards towards the Old Testament and then showing examples of some of the mistakes that leaders from that era made. Now he's using this to point out that sin always has consequences and that temptation is something that affects everyone. No one is immune from it. Look at verses 6 through 12. Now these things became our examples, to the intent that we should not lust after evil things as they also lusted. And do not become idolaters, as were some of them. As it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. Nor let us commit sexual immorality as some of them did, and in one day 23,000 fell. Nor let us tempt Christ as some of them also tempted and were destroyed by serpents. Nor complain as some of them also complained and were destroyed by the destroyer. Now all these things happened to them as examples, and they were written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the age have come. Therefore let him who thinks he stands take heed lest he fall. Now this sounds like one long horrible list of people that Paul is describing here, but there's a lot of famous people here who would actually be included. Moses, David, Samson, even Solomon, the wisest man who ever lived, would make this list. If those guys can find themselves as examples of things to avoid, then it's safe to say that we are all open to this same kind of temptation. But the good news is that Paul doesn't end there. Look at the very next verse in verse 13. No temptation has overtaken you except such as is common to man, but God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able, but with the temptation will also make the way of escape that you may be able to bear it. Now in that verse alone, there is a ton of wisdom and revelation. First of all, it shows that God is not the one doing the tempting. He allows it to happen up to a point, but then in every single situation, God always provides a way of escape. Now many of you have heard me say this before, but I'll say it again. The best way to deal with temptation is not to stand and fight it, but to run from it. Again, this is why God provides a way of escape. It doesn't say he gives us weapons to fight against temptation. Instead, he gives us an exit path. Keep that in mind the next time temptation to do something wrong arises within yourself. Pause and look around and you will see an escape route God has given you, but it's up to you to take it. Okay, skip ahead just a little bit for this next part and you're going to see Paul revisit this idea of eating food that has been offered to idols. Now we covered this previously, but again in our day, this is Paul describing things that we do that could possibly cause other people to stumble. Look at verses 24 through 28. Let no one seek his own, but each one the other's well-being. Eat whatever is sold in the meat marketplace, asking no questions for conscience sake. For the earth is the Lord's and all its fullness. If any of those who do not believe invites you to dinner and you desire to go, eat whatever is set before you, asking no question for conscience sake. But if anyone says to you, this was offered to idols, do not eat it for the sake of the one who told you, and for conscience sake, for the earth is the Lord's and all its fullness. Notice that he starts by saying that we are not doing this for ourselves, but the benefit of others. And that right there is where so many people miss it. Instead of doing it out of a motivation of love, it instead becomes a religious exercise that they think makes them more holy or spiritual. And it's the completely wrong purpose for doing it. I don't drink, so I'm a better Christian. I don't go to the movies because I'm closer to God. I only listen to Christian music because I'm actually serious about my walk with Christ, unlike all these other people. You see how that attitude shifts away from the original intent? The whole reason to avoid things that are neither good nor bad is if you think it could cause someone else trouble in their walk with Christ. All other reasons always end up being a wrong motivation. All right, finally, let's close it out with verses 31 through 33. Therefore, whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do all to the glory of God. Give no offense either to the Jews or to the Greeks or to the church of God, just as I also please men in all things, not seeking my own profit, but the profit of many, that they may be saved. Guys, always remember the intention and reason for doing things. It's never to prompt yourself up spiritually so other people ooh and ah over you. It's always out of love, the benefit of others, and ultimately the glory of God. In everything that you do, let the intention be that God is glorified through it. All right, boys and girls, that is it for us again today with chapter 10. Still continuing on from here, we will be picking it back up on Monday with chapter 11. Hope you'll join us then for more good stuff from the Bible. Until then, you all have a wonderful weekend. You know I love you all and so appreciate you being here. I will see you back here next Monday. Bye-bye.